We live in an era of Swiggy, Blinkit, in 10 minutes delivery, all that. I first wanted you both to reflect upon that. I haven't, as a consumer, swung to that, but I definitely get bothered with this 10 minutes packaging, so much packaging, so much fuel that we are sort of burning. I think as a society, we are not thinking about some of these bigger issues, like what it reflects, the ripple effect it has had. How do you look at the era we are looking in, the consumptive era that we are in, where cell phones need to be changed, laptops need to be changed, our TV, refrigerator, virtually everything has a life cycle. In fact, the construct of the corporate
Planned
world and the products that they are making, everything is sort of favoring this upgrade, constantly upgrade generation, the consumption. Let's talk a little about your reflection of it. How do you see this around you through your eyes?
It bothers at one level, but after thinking about it, one also feels that these are kind of complicated issues, because sometimes it feels good that Swiggy or Blinkit or Zomato or these kinds of Uber, Ola, all these kind of
Do you
startups.
use Ola, Uber?
We do.
You
Sometimes.
do. What about you, Sir?
Yeah, I Ubered here this morning.
Yeah.
Largely,
Okay.
yeah.
Though we prefer the electric vehicle options now.
Both of you have electric vehicles?
We have. But now that also, looking at the lithium-ion batteries and where it's coming from, and the rare earth metals that are devastating that part of the earth where they're coming from, also bothers. So surely these wicked issues which we don't know how to solve, some systemic solutions will need to be, thought about. But yeah, at one level, one feels good that yes, these kinds of startups are generating so many livelihoods, so many jobs, that access to money for many people have become easy because people are working for these companies. But yeah, this whole instant as a format it's overhyped. I feel, what is this
What
whole
bothers
10
you
minutes?
the most?
Because it masks many of the exploitation that happens beneath it. In saying that we'll get it so fast, how can be something available that's not real for me? That is an artificial construct for me, to be able to give something so fast. Can you tell a tree to give me an orange so fast? It's something like that.
What about you, Seher? How do you look at this entire consumptive sort of behavior that we see all around us, including at a corporate level?
For sure.
Yeah,
So I
go
think I
ahead.
have to take one step back though,
Go ahead.
to tell you a little bit about why I tried to set up Bare Necessities, right? It was seeing the amount of plastic that was being generated by everyday personal care products and food products and basically FMCG products, and looking at my own personal life and how much waste I was generating. What products do I use on a daily basis? So my solution was to start making it myself, right? But also sometimes it was not so easy, or I felt like I had to go to different one shop I will go get oil, one shop I will go get this one. So I was thinking about, hey, I think there are other people who are also looking to consume more mindfully. So what if these things that I'm making at home, I'm able to give that option to a conscious consumer, which I know people care. I know, and in your book you refer to Bangalore as a city with a soul or a city with a heart, right? And I was like, yeah, and I want to believe that about my city. So what if we gave an option that is cleaner, more sustainable, packaged only in something that is reusable, compostable, or something that I can take back and I can recycle for further usage. So that's how I started. I was just doing santes on weekends, on once a month, with the products that I was making in my own house, my own mom's kitchen, bless her. So that's how it began. And then slowly, I really saw that it was picking up. And I, while it was a side hustle while I had a full-time job, slowly I kind of saw that there were stores approaching us to say, hey, I love this. Can you give this to me in bulk? Will you white label for me? So I was doing that. And then on Saturdays and Sundays, delivering in my mom's car, the thing in the warehouses and all of that. So after some time, I had enough capital and I said, okay, fine, let me go ahead and take this plunge, and I went ahead and quit my full-time job to start Bare Necessities. So for me, it was very intentional to meet people where they're at. So if you want and if you can afford to purchase, you can purchase. If not, we do talks and workshops where we'll teach you how to make it. If you want, you can make it in your own house as well. So that was the philosophy. Slowly it evolved. And the pandemic had the time and the ability to write the book and pen down a lot of these recipes. Not just recipes, but also resources. So where can I go for secondhand clothes? How can I thrift my clothes? How can I organize my own a thrifting circle in my own community, my own apartment, my own office. So thinking about everything, your shoes, your soles, can you give it a green sole? So it was also kind of the idea was to digitize and to create a little book of all things I wish I knew when I got started on my zero waste journey, and looking at all aspects of my life, the way I clothe myself, my personal care, my lifestyle, the city I occupy, the public
So
transportation.
you created a playbook for that?
Exactly.
Where is it?
It's called Bare Necessities, published by Penguin. How
okay.
to lead a zero waste lifestyle.
Okay.
So I was trying to meet people where they're at. So if you can make, go for it. If you don't have the time to make and you're busy, you can purchase from Bare Necessities. And that was how I started. So for me, actually, I had a huge internal conflict as we're scaling and growing. Bare Necessities, I want to be more accessible. I want to have these clean products. So ultimately, my mission is less waste is going into our oceans, our landfills, and polluting our groundwater and soil. So that means I have to be where people are shopping. So actually, it took me a long time. The team was like, we have to get on quick commerce. And I was like, no, we don't. And then slowly saying, where are the consumers shopping? And if your big mission is really to help divert all of that plastic waste, then you have to give that option. So we are on quick commerce over the past few months.
Okay.
And it was very intentional. We took a long time. We deliberated in order to do it. But I think there's more good than harm by giving the sustainable option in there. But even our communication around it was buy when you need. When you're purchasing, plan your orders in bulk up. Don't just get one thing, because the carbon footprint of that is not great. So even our communication was around how we can reduce even your footprint or be a little bit more mindful even when you're crafting your cart and things like that. That's the way I look at it, which is I think if you're trying to make sustainability more accessible, then you have to be available where your current people are shopping.
Yeah.
And that is through our retail footprint. That is also on our online and offline channels now. Yeah. But it took me a long time. It was a huge internal conflict. Yes.
I think what also happens is this whole collective mindset of maximizing. I think when we talk about a 10-minute delivery and this time is reducing, we want it sooner than that. It's also we want to maximize every opportunity. I think this also goes against our collectivist kind of a culture where we want everybody to gain in the process. This whole anthropocentricity is getting onto us, I feel. We'll not be able to handle it ourselves eventually. But this whole thing to maximize and, this conversation, I remember when we were deciding not to have light bulbs in our house or electricity.
You don't have it?
We don't have it. And the reason was that why do we want to again extend the day? This whole from maximizing this thought just came that nature again wants, when the sun sets, all creatures around need to just wind up their day and close the day, because maybe. So in a way we felt that why do we want to shove darkness away? What is it that we can't finish during the daytime that we have to extend our day and finish all those things? So we felt that maybe rather than saying that darkness is absence of light, it's presence of something which we ought to be in. All other creatures in nature, they have that darkness available to them, but we are kind of pushing it away, saying no, let's just have lights around in the house.
Yeah.
And actually we feel that not having that, or maybe not having these fast food or fast kind of deliveries also maybe will help us becoming more tolerant to imperfections and delays. As human beings we'll turn out better, I feel.
So one of the things that at least occurs to me is this chase of instant gratification. I think
right.
I grew up in an era where you wanted a new dress and your mom would tell, Durga Puja aayega, then you will get it. You want a new something, school bag, the new academic session, then you'll get it. And you waited for it, like
With excitement.
longing for it,
Yeah.
right? Even the small things
That's right.
held so much pleasure in you getting it.
Absolutely.
I think the joy of getting something new, because you're no longer longing for it. You want it now, you get it in 15 minutes. You get it in a day, right from most exotic stuff to smaller stuff. And I think even if I don't look at any of this, as a consumer, that joy of having something, right?
Yeah.
Instant gratification has taken away. There's no joy
Yeah.
anymore left, that you will get something with some longing and some sort of weight.
Yeah.
So
Actually, you're calling it joy. It's actually the preciousness of that something that
Yeah.
that gives you that joy, you know.
yes,
And we also feel it actually when these conveniences are just pushed away, you know, when we thought of not having taps as convenience, actually now water feels so precious because we are harvesting it, we are just storing it for the year, and we are using it
and it's
mindfully.
your water you've
Yeah.
generated, huh?
Yeah, actually not our water.
I'm
Nature's
saying-
bounty,
Yeah.
actually it's the abundance of nature. And when you are in real in touch with that, actually that preciousness is the joy,
Yeah,
you know, that
yeah.
it gives so much joy because you're holding it preciously. Then you want to conserve it. And actually if something that we want to conserve, how are we making it precious enough or not?